I have to talk about our boy, because in all the doom, in all of the gloom, one man has risen, and he fights on, and he may be being held in the same prison where Diddy is being held, but oh boy, for very different reasons. That is Luigi Mangione, who is going to be in court on Friday as his trial begins. He again has been charged with murder. Also charges like 11 state criminal counts, New York State, Pennsylvania State, and federal charges. He using murder as an act of terrorism, which I think is great. Again, the terrorist. He's the terrorist, okay, allegedly, and not the people who deny sick patients health care, or gouge them for their meds, or knowingly have their business model based on the idea that you and I might die or get sick, and they will profit off of that by denying us health coverage or charging us far too much for it. So Luigi Mangione has a public statement, first public statement. It dropped on Friday. I don't know if you guys have seen it. He says, quote, "I am overwhelmed by and grateful for everyone who has written me to share their stories and express their support. Powerfully, this support has transcended political, racial, and even class divides as mail has flooded MDC, that's Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn, from across the country and around the globe. While it's impossible for me to reply to most letters, please know that I read every one that I receive. Thank you again to everyone who took the time to write. I look forward to hearing more in the future. My guy wants to be your pen pal." That is right. And it's important that he's hot. Let's just call it what it is. Is it stupid that he's hot and people think he's hot? Yeah. Does it change things? A little bit. Yeah. And in fact, the New York Times they are reporting, the New York Times, they are not reporting it, but there's leaks that the New York Times is telling their journalists to not use photos of Luigi. Instead, use images of the building outside of which he killed Brian Thompson. Use other images that are not Luigi centered, because he's muy guapo. It's demasiado. You know what I'm saying? Like, that it endears him to people, in addition to the fact that he sought vigilante justice for millions of Americans who die from a lack of access or to healthcare, or misdiagnoses, or in his case, the staples and the nails in his back that he probably didn't need. And there's massive sympathy. This is from a little bit ago. This is maybe earlier this year, but actually in January, young Americans sympathize more with the CEO shooting suspect, Mangione, than the victim. 81% of students say they have an extremely or somewhat negative view of Thompson, the victim. But who they sympathize more with, 45% of respondents chose suspect Luigi Mangione, 17 chose Thompson, 37 said neither. So again, not a majority, but 48% of people polled said they viewed the killing as totally or somewhat justified. Those findings chime with an Emerson College poll, which found that 41% of voters under 30 found the killing acceptable far more than any other age group. And I will say, as someone who doesn't believe in this kind of vigilante justice, I do think that for generations that have grown up with mass shooting drills, who know people who were in mass shootings, who were killed, whose schools were subjected to them, the kinds of violence that we've told children to normalize, and then when they grow up, they are kicked off their parents' health insurance, left to fend for themselves and buy it on the marketplace, or get a job that they stay in only and solely because it has health care. You're going to desensitize people to a lot of the violence coming at CEOs. And look, it is a psychic break. It is a cultural break to have Luigi Mangione being thirsted after to this degree. I wasn't ready for this break. I wasn't clear how people felt. But even just cursorily, even just liberals who are all about him, it's pretty wild. So his case is Friday at 12:15, Center Street. New York, New York. I've been there. People versus Mangione. Monday, February 24th, Commonwealth versus Mangione. Again, that's Pennsylvania. And Wednesday, March 19th, USA versus Mangione. He's pleading not guilty. Did I mention that? Not guilty. And you can see why, because of the amount of public support. And if there's a jury, they might be persuadable. If there's people who listen to people like Bill Burr, who said this, which made a lot of waves, but kind of interesting.
There is so much fucking money in this country. And there's so much work being done, you know. And if you work a full fucking week at a job, you should be able to pay your fucking rent. You shouldn't have to go out and get a fucking job and still be struggling. It's bad for the country. Because then the kids don't see their parents and they're not getting the upbringing that they need. It's so fucking, these fucking billionaires, they need to be put down. You know, like fucking rabid dogs. They're like rabid with fucking greed and just going out and just dividing everybody.
They are rabid with greed. That I think we've just proven in the last segment, talking about the number of tech billionaires that will do anything to further their own wealth. But the whole, they need to be put down like rabid dogs. I mean, look, I will just say this. Dogs, when they are euthanized, it's a good ride out. It is not necessarily gunning them down in the street. It's a nicer, it's more pleasant. So like, I'm not, you know, euthanasia is actually quite kind. There's lots of sedatives. People on death row, people who are put to in lethal injection don't get sedatives, right? We know that, right? Obviously, I'm joking, but seriously, like the fact that that is controversial to say, that like billionaires are dividing us. What more do they want? They're ruining this country, and that maybe if they weren't around, it would be a good thing. It's like, yeah, I mean, I prefer taxing them out of existence. I don't think billionaires should exist. But if you wait long enough, there will be people who take matters into their own hands. And I'm not here to control the memes on that. What's going on, Frantifa? If you haven't already, subscribe to this channel right now. Hit that button. And also, you can become a patron and support the show every single week. Get access to bonus episodes and exclusive merchandise. Patreon.com/Bitchuation Room. Do it.